What's up again, everybody? I hope you had a fantastic holiday. I personally just got back into town from my holiday, and I'm excited to talk about Alpha Clash. Alpha Clash is a really cool new trading card game that I think you definitely owe it to yourself to check out for a lot of reasons. But first and foremost, because it's a really fun card game that you have the opportunity to jump in on very soon, very quickly, and very easily. Second of all, because honestly, it's a card game that gets a lot right. Not only does it get a lot right, but it's trying to do a lot of really fun and really cool things outside of just be a good card game. As you can see right here, this is one of those examples. Alpha Clash, The Awakening. This is a full and complete graphic novel. I'm really excited to talk you through this stuff that Alpha Clash creators, Rising Empire Studios sent to me. And honestly, I'm really excited to dive into these booster packs because I've seen some people open them already and they're pretty cool. But everything here screams quality, screams dedication. And that's why I agreed to have them send some stuff out and to just sit down and highlight this, because I think you owe it to yourself to at least get a little bit acquainted with this game because it's pretty cool. And I'm not gonna lie, like I have here, these two starter decks, I have these sleeved up, and I did teach both myself and my son how to play. We played a couple of rounds and it was a blast. So first and foremost, this is a trading card game that, yes, was fully funded and is complete. Not complete, I shouldn't say that. There's still like 8 days or so left on the Kickstarter. So it was fully funded on Kickstarter, and completed within, I don't know, I think it was like a day, maybe less than a day. But this is a project that was very well taken to. It is currently much exceeding its own, margins or milestones, whatever you want to describe it as, on Kickstarter. And in my opinion, rightfully so, because it occupies one of those interesting TCG spaces that not a lot of people aesthetically dive into or companies dive into, and that's a superhero-themed TCG. And it takes it one step further. I think it really kind of goes to that, The Boys TV show, where superheroes are not exactly all on the up and up. It takes things kind of in that realm and in that way, and definitely not super uber violent, but it definitely aims for more of a mature audience. Nevertheless, you're essentially playing as an alpha, or as, in this case, an alpha hunter. And there's other alphas and other sort of factions within the game as well. But you play as a contender, and you, with your contender that has a lot of things that you may recognize. It has affiliations, attack, defense, effects, things like that. With this, contender and the deck that they can build around, and in this case, the color that they can kind of include, which is all green, you're going to be playing down, persistent damage threats. We'll call them that because they're kind of like people or creatures that you might experience from something like a Magic the Gathering, or something like a Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, or a Hearthstone with the 2 attack, 1 defense, and an affiliation that has some synergies perhaps with its effect. You're playing out these effects, these persistent creatures, if you will, and you're using them to try and swing at your opponent's contender. Now, interestingly enough, the contender itself kind of feels similar in some ways to a commander in a Magic the Gathering setup, or a hero in Flesh and Blood, or a hero in Hearthstone, except your contender has an attack and a health, and it can, make use of those. It also has these 2 effects that you gain access to. One you gain access to at the beginning of the game. The other one you gain access to when your life reaches a certain threshold, which is really fun because that kind of turns the game on its head a little bit. But you're using, effects, and you're using these creatures to try and deal damage to your opponent's contender, to the point where you win the game by reducing their life to 0. Now, it is interesting, and there's a lot of these little interesting corner cases wherein, if I attack into my opponent's contender, then it's going to deal me damage, and I'm going to, lose that persistent threat on the board. And so there's little combat tricks that you can play. There's traps that you can play, a la something like a Yu-Gi-Oh. There's a lot of these interesting TCG elements that are familiar if you've played trading card games before, which makes this a really easy pick up and play type game. But they combine them in interesting ways, and they wrap everything up in a really solid theme that it makes the game feel fresh in its own way, shape, and form. For example, here we have Moxie, who has 1 attack, 0 defense, 30 health. She's a contender. She has an effect that gives her Alpha Hunter Clash cards, which are basically like your creatures in the game. They can kind of like equip weapons, equip multiple weapons. Normally you can only equip one. When she reaches 10 health, you actually get this secondary effect and ability as well, which is really fun. Like I said, you gain that on the way to the end of the game. And then you've got these all these creatures which all use the color black. They all have attack and defense, but you can equip like equipment. So this piece of equipment can be paid for and placed out into the field and then equipped to one of your characters or one of your Clash cards. But there's other little things that remind me of like Pokemon, for example. Like here is a location that you could be battling in, and you can build your deck around the synergies that come from finding this location and then playing it. And it all fits together in this really fun, really heavily themed package that feels good to engage in. And I just want to point this out as well. As you noticed probably while I was rifling through, there is a high level of quality already in the art, in the templating, in everything about this. There's a high level of quality just throughout everything. And that, I think, speaks volumes to a game. Here's the thing about the way that they approach their Kickstarter from what I've been able to tell. They've gone and done all the back-end work and gathered all the art, or at least the art at this point to this degree is incredibly good in my opinion. And incredibly like uniform in theme. And they've got the templating set up such a way that you can kind of rely on understanding what you're looking at right when you look at it. They've done all of that, which sometimes like a lot of game companies will do a Kickstarter and then use the funds from the Kickstarter to upgrade their art or their templating or their borders and the visual information that you take in. But this is already to such a high degree. You can look at this and you go, man, I could just straight up play that. It's like ready to go, which is really, really impressive to me. I mean, you're looking at this like that's solid. And it's very cohesive. As I flip through this, it's incredibly cohesive. Also, one of the fun things about this that I really enjoyed is the resource system, which is, again, it's not something that is this huge groundbreaking thing because there's a lot of resource systems out there. And there's a lot of ways that you can handle resource systems. For example, this game, like several others, uses the old adage that every card can be considered a resource, and you basically just take a card from your hand. Like, for example, say our hand is like this. Take a card from your hand, you turn it upside down, and you place it in the resource kind of pile or zone. So essentially, it's a land-based mana system similar to a Magic the Gathering, except all of your cards act as land as well as what else they can be used for. So for example, this card Magnate Power Overflowing is a clash buff, sort of like an attack reaction, if you will. But if you didn't want to use it for that, you can instead, on your turn, play it upside down as a resource. So this idea that it's an easy to approach game with a high level of polish and theme really, really stuck out to me. And it's one of the reasons why I'm sitting down and showing it to you. It's pretty cool. Speaking of, I flipped through this very quickly earlier, but this is also what they're like trying to do with this game. They want to take Alpha Clash and make it more about a full-on IP. They want you to kind of connect to these characters and understand that there's a wider world at play here. And you can literally read about the story as to why there are these alphas and why they're all fighting each other. It's really cool. And I'm not going to lie, I have been waiting for probably far too long to crack one of these packs open because I've seen some of the foiling jobs, and that's why I was holding these up. Some of their foiling choices really inventive and reminds me a lot of like the old school I guess it's not really even old school because they're still doing it. Like the Japanese trading card games that have like the really fun, interesting foil jobs. Like for example, this one has that stone. You can see it kind of up here. Has the stone pressed look, which is pretty cool. And this one, they did like the what do they call that effect with all the like the floating bubbles? Why am I blanking? The bokeh look? That's not a bokeh. Bokeh. It's bokeh. Is that it? I don't know. Tell me in a comment below. I could not remember for the life of me the name. But let's dive into what it looks like to crack open one of these packs. Let's get in close. Let's just push in. We'll just push in real close and take a look at what one of these packs looks like. So this game is releasing with you know, like a booster box product that you can pick up, as well as starter decks. These are the starter decks that I showed you earlier, and they're fun. I think all of this is really interesting. But it all comes down to this crux, and I made a post about this on social media. Good Lord, I did a poor job of tearing the perforated thing. So let's see if I can somehow maybe crack open the top. It all comes down to this. I think it's really cool, the idea that you want to take your trading card game and, you know, expand it, give it like this huge lore backstory. It's something that I love about something like Flesh and Blood, right? There's this huge backstory and these characters that you can kind of really relate to or dive into. There was another one the whole time. What a fail. But I think at the crux of it all, you have to have a good trading card game. And this game's a lot of fun. And that's a really important thing in my mind. Tell me if it is for you. Look how beautiful that art is. That's insanely cool. When you play this card, you may reveal the top two cards of your deck. You may add up to one revealed accessory card with an initial resource cost of 5 or less to your hand. Put the remaining on the bottom of your deck. It's pretty cool. Captain Maxine Riggins. We got the old... Oh, look, another contender. This is Clarity, Ageless Defender. It's very cool. Clarity's 1911. That's fun. Denver. This is a location. Every card or every pack is going to come with a foil card, and ours is coming up next. After this Weber, we have... Aw, look how cute. Haven, Bountiful Collector. And look at this cool texturing. Look at this. So if you tilt it at this angle, you got that sort of like glitter texture. But the more you tilt it, the more you get this subtle, like, you see it up here? It's almost like a hexagon or interlocking, like, fractal texture. That is so cool. My goodness. I think that is incredible. That is really cool. And then Magnate just hanging out in the back. And the rarity system, by the way, if you're looking, and I actually forgot the crystal like order. The rarity system is listed down here, and if I am cool enough, I will go back and I'll put in what rare everything is. But let's separate everything out. What rarity they all are. Man, I think that's one of those things that I'm sorely missing in some Western TCGs. This really cool looking, crazy looking texture foil thing. I was talking about that with a couple of people like a long time ago. Maybe it was at Flesh and Blood Worlds. So that wasn't that long ago. About the idea that like I would love to see more card games really push crazy texturing. Spiritual Defense. That's fun. Surprise. Surprise! The Avenging Guy, which is a kind of a hilarious name for a character. Missile Barrage. This card I haven't seen before. These cards look like they're cut well. Let's look at the... Whoa, that is cool looking. Kilimanjaro. Ascendant Champion. So we have another contender that you could play? It doesn't have contender written on it. No, it's just like it's a straight up a hero that you can play, or just like a clash card you can play. Okay, let's take a look. So here's Moxie primed to clash. Look at the quality of the back here. Overall, I mean, feels about what you would expect. Let's compare this. Actually, I have what is this? Oh, good. Just a casual first edition bullseye bracer sitting on my desk from Flesh and Blood. Cardstock. Okay. They both feel good. They both feel like if you were to play, this feels a little bit more elastic, like it has more bend to it. This feels a little bit more rigid. But honestly, like that's a good quality and a good cut on it. I do dig the full art as well, like taking art all the way. to the borders, or to the borders of the card, I should say, to the edges. I'm a fan of that because it masks in some way, shape, and form any miscut like weirdness. Though I know some people enjoy the old miscut aspect of things. I personally don't mind it, but sometimes I look at a card and I'm like, I wish that were cut just a little bit better. Ancient Protection. That's interesting. Yeah, I am very interested to see how you, the viewer, take this game, because I see a lot of really cool things in it, and a lot of things that I can tell were done intentionally as far as design is concerned, with a lot of thought and preparation. Whoa, look at that. Machina, Unstoppable Force. This is a 6/6. Ooh, the texturing on that's that same one that the earlier card had. That's pretty cool. This costs 7. That is expensive. That is very awesome. Whoa, look at that. Sinister San Francisco. That is cool. So this is another location as well that you can play in your deck. And again, the top number is delineating both the cost and also the sort of color that it can go into. So like decks sort of by colors, and then these side little notches indicate how many of that specific resource color you need to pay in order to pay this cost. So you would pay 4, for example, to play Sinister San Francisco. You'd pay 4 resources total, 2 of which have to be red. So you can sort of combine. I can't believe this is the last pack. It's depressing. You can combine like colors within decks, and all of that I believe is based on your contender, but don't quote me on that. I think the contender perhaps dictates what you play, but again, don't quote me on that because I don't know all the intricacies as far as deck building is concerned. Amazon Rainforest, Ancient Protection. We got Is This Who You Are? Followed by Magnate, Ready to Fight, a simple 4/4 for 4, and a beautiful Avenging Guy. Look at that. Just a straight up kind of card that you would play. Oh my god, what the heck is this? Look at that foiling. Dude, that looks incredible. Okay, that's fun. That is really fun. Mean Streak, Intercepting. What a cool card to finish on. So he's a 3/3 with you got to pay 2 blue in order to play him along with 1 other resource. He's a clash card, so he can come out and be a persistent threat on the board. Interception, this card can obstruct clash cards with flight. Oh, that's great. This card comes into play with 1 streak counter attached, trigger primary. You may pay 2 and add a streak counter. Okay, so you can keep that going. That is really cool. And look at that finishing. Oh man, that is what a way to finish a video. And then when you hit the certain angle, you get that really beautiful foil, like glitter texture right there. That is a cool looking card, man. So here's the thing. This game, in my opinion, is worth the look. Take a look, see what you think. Try playing it for yourself. I'm not sure if there's print and play decks, but if there are, I would highly encourage you to both print and play the deck, because when I sat down, I was a little bit skeptical of the just entire experience, because I know I've played a lot of games that have a similar resource system. I've played a lot of games that have similar mechanics. I know some of those can end up being like slog fests where you establish a board and then just kind of hide behind the board. That happens in games. This one felt fun. It felt fresh. It didn't devolve into that to the degree that I had thought. Basically, it just impressed me on every front, and including these packs, which I did not open a single one before, and I wish I got my hands on more of them. But I guess that's what the Kickstarter is for. So head on down to the link in the description. See for yourself what is being offered and how you can jump in, because I really do think you should give it a look. It's worth a look. I know I'm going to give it more of a look, and we may be doing some stuff with it in the future. Me and some other people, in fact. So this is something that you should definitely consider jumping in on as well. And heck, maybe you can join the Discord and we can play it together. That'd be kind of fun when the product ships. I think they said early to middle of next year. Again, a quick turnaround, and partially because maybe they've already got like the high quality stuff done, which is very, very cool. So check it out. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, If you enjoyed watching us crack some packs and get this insane looking card, feel free to, do the old like and subscribe thing. Make this number right here go up by 1 or 2. 2 is better than 1. As always, thanks for watching.